The actor who played Dawson was diagnosed with dyslexia in kindergarten and learned to read in a special class. Years later, he earned an academic scholarship and became one of the most recognizable faces on television. But his story in 2026 will stay with you long after this video ends. Today, we're catching up with the entire cast of Dawson's Creek, and we're starting right now. No filler, no waiting. But before we count down, who did you sit next to on the living room floor when that unforgettable theme song played? Drop a comment below. I love reading your memories. Then, Evelyn Graham's Ryan. We begin with the woman who held Capeside together. Bible in one hand, unconditional love in the other. Mary Beth Peale played Grams, and here's what set her apart. She was the only actress besides the 4 young leads to appear as a credited regular across all 6 seasons. 74 out of 128 episodes. But long before Capeside, Mary Beth Peale was an opera soprano. She won the Metropolitan Opera National Council auditions in 1964 and toured nationally as a leading soprano for 2 full seasons. She then conquered Broadway. She played Anna opposite the legendary Yul Brynner in The King and I, earning a Tony nomination. Decades later, a second Tony nomination came for the musical Anastasia in 2017. And between those 2 milestones, she spent 7 years as Jackie Florrick on The Good Wife, the scheming mother-in-law audiences loved to watch. Born June 25, 1940, in Davenport, Iowa, Mary Beth Peale is 85 years old. Opera, Broadway, Capeside. Over 60 years and still going. Andy Mcphie. If Pacey Whitter ever had a heart, and we know he did, Andy Mcphie was the one who cracked it open. Meredith Monroe joined in season 2 and appeared in 69 episodes across 3 seasons. But here's a fun secret. Before she ever acted, her face was already famous. She appeared on the packaging for a Con Air hair crimper and on 5 book covers in the Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys series. A familiar face before Capeside ever knew her name. After The Creek, she built a quietly impressive resume. She played Haley Hotchner on Criminal Minds, recurring through the show's first 5 seasons. Then a new generation found her on the Netflix series 13 Reasons Why, from 2018 to 2020. Born December 30th, 1969 in Houston, Texas, she is 56 years old. Married to Stephen Kavovit since 1999, over 26 years, with 2 children. Not the loudest name on this list, but one of the most steady. Mitch Leary. Now, a name that carries serious weight. John Wesley Shipp played Mitch Leary for the first 4 seasons. The kind of TV dad who actually listened. The kind you wished was yours. But before Capeside, Shipp was already a television force. He won his first daytime Emmy for As the World Turns in '86, then a second the very next year for Santa Barbara. That made him the only actor in history to win consecutive daytime Emmys from 2 different shows. And in 1990, he became The Flash on CBS. The original Flash, years before the superhero boom ever began. After Dawson's Creek, most assumed that was it. But in 2014, the CW brought him back as Henry Allen, Barry's father, on the new Flash series. Then he played Jay Garrick, the Flash of Earth 3. The original Flash, back in the universe. Different suit, different generation, same man. Born January 22, 1955, in Norfolk, Virginia. He is 71 years old. And there's one story that tells you everything about him. Growing up in Wake Forest, North Carolina, his family had friends of all backgrounds over to their home one night. While they were visiting, gunshots were fired through the brick walls of the house. He has carried that memory his entire life, and it shaped the father figure that millions came to love. Next, a young man who changed American television forever with a single kiss, and a woman whose childhood nickname became her destiny. Then, Jack Mcphie. In the year 2000, something happened on Dawson's Creek that had never happened before on American network television. In the season 3 finale, True Love, Jack Mcphie shared a romantic kiss with another young man at prom. It was the first male-to-male romantic kiss ever aired on primetime network TV in the United States. And the man behind that moment was Kerr Smith. Now here's the twist. Before Kerr ever set foot on a soundstage, he graduated from the University of Vermont with a degree in business administration, specializing in accounting and finance. He was going to be a businessman. But something pulled him toward performing, and he moved to New York City to try his luck. 7 weeks after arriving in Los Angeles, he landed Jack Mcphie. After The Creek, Kerr jumped into genre work. He starred as Carter Horton in the original Final Destination in 2000, a horror classic. He later joined the freeform drama The Fosters from 2014 to 2018 as Robert Quinn. And a whole new wave of viewers caught him as Principal Holden Honey on Riverdale from 2019 to 2020. Born March 9, 1972 in Exton, Pennsylvania, he is 54 years old. Off-screen, Kerr is a licensed pilot, co-owns the Venice Beach Beer Company, and was the very last person ever pranked on the original run of MTV's Punk'd. Oh, and one more thing. When he started playing 16-year-old Jack Mcphie in Season 2, Kerr Smith was actually 26. From a man who rewrote the rules of television to a woman who got her name before she could even walk. And trust me, that name fits perfectly. Audrey Liddel. Her parents called her Busy as a toddler because she simply never stopped moving. That nickname stuck. It's even on her driver's license. And one of her very first jobs? Playing a real-life Barbie doll at a Toy Fair convention in New York. Busy Phillips arrived on Dawson's Creek in Season 5 as Audrey Liddel, Joey Potter's bold, scene-stealing college roommate. But The Creek wasn't her first time changing the energy of a beloved show. Just before that, she played Kim Kelly on the cult classic Freaks and Geeks, the Judd Apatow and Paul Feig series that launched a generation of comedy talent. After The Creek wrapped, Busy kept building. She played Lori Keller on Cougar Town from 2009 to 2015, winning the Critics' Choice Television Award for Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy. Then, from 2021 to 2024, she starred as Summer Dutkowski on Girls, 5 Eva across 3 seasons on Peacock and Netflix. She also published a memoir in 2018, This Will Only Hurt a Little, which became a New York Times bestseller. In it, she shares stories from her time on Dawson's Creek and Freaks and Geeks with the same honesty that made audiences fall for her in the first place. Born June 25, 1979, in Oak Park, Illinois, she is 46 years old. Seeing these faces again brings back so many memories. Let me know down below, how many of you secretly had a poster of one of these Capeside kids on your bedroom wall? Don't be shy. Confess in the comments. All right, we're getting close to the top now. And our next name, well, he saved a girl's life during filming. His mother tried to stop him from acting, and 28 years later, the same man who launched Dawson's Creek just called him back. Here he is. Paisley Whitter. Let's be honest. For a lot of us, Paisley Whitter wasn't just a character. He was the standard. Joshua Jackson brought Paisley to life for 6 seasons, the charming underachiever with the biggest heart in Capeside. But Jackson's story started long before the Creek. At just 14, he starred as Charlie Conway in The Mighty Ducks, 1992, 94, and 96. He was already a household name before Capeside even existed. And here's a detail that says everything about how his career began. His mother, a casting director from Dublin, Ireland, took him to his very first audition, hoping it would discourage him from acting. Instead, he booked a commercial for Keebler's potato chips. He never looked back. After the Creek, Jackson proved he was far more than a teen heartthrob. He led the J.J. Abrams sci-fi series Fringe for 5 seasons, 2008 to 2013. Then came The Affair on Showtime from 2014 to 2019. He played the chilling Dr. Christopher Dunch in Dr. Death on Peacock in 2021. And in 2023, he headlined the Paramount Plus thriller Fatal Attraction. Most recently, in 2024, he starred in Dr. Odyssey, Ryan Murphy's new ABC drama. And in February 2026, he signed on for How to Survive Without Me, an HBO Max drama pilot produced by Greg Berlanti. Yes, that Greg Berlanti, a writer and eventual showrunner of Dawson's Creek. Nearly 3 decades later, the circle comes back around. And one more thing. During the filming of Dawson's Creek in Wilmington, North Carolina, Joshua Jackson saved a girl who was drowning. The cast and crew gave him a life preserver as a keepsake. Born June 11, 1978, in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. He is 47 years old. 3 names left. An actress with 5 Oscar nominations. The woman who became Joey Potter. And the man whose name is on the title of this show. Stay with us. Jen Lindley. She arrived in Capeside as the girl from New York, confident on the outside, fragile underneath. Jen Lindley was complicated from the very first episode, and the young woman who played her would go on to become one of the most respected actresses of her entire generation. Michelle Williams was just 17 when Dawson's Creek began, but her path to Capeside was anything but ordinary. At 15, she legally emancipated herself from her parents so that child labor laws wouldn't stand in the way of her career. She finished high school through correspondence in 9 months. Then she moved to Burbank, California, alone. After the Creek ended, Michelle didn't chase blockbusters. She chose roles that challenged her, and the results speak for themselves. 5 Academy Award nominations. Brokeback Mountain in 2005. Blue Valentine in 2010. My Week with Marilyn in 2011, where she became Marilyn Monroe and won the Golden Globe. Manchester by the Sea in 2016, and The Fabelmans in 2022. Steven Spielberg's own story, with Michelle playing his mother. On television, she returned as Gwen Verdon in the FX miniseries Fosse/Verdon in 2019, and won both the Emmy and the Golden Globe. Born September 9, 1980, in Kalispell, Montana, she is 45 years old. She has a daughter, Matilda, from her relationship with the late Heath Ledger, and 3 children with her husband, theater director Thomas Kail. From a teenager alone in Burbank to 5 Oscar nominations. That's not luck. That's will. 2 names remain. The woman who sent her audition tape from a basement in Ohio, and the young man who gave this show its name, Joey Potter. Joey Potter didn't need a last name. Everyone knew exactly who she was. Katie Holmes was 19 when she became the emotional center of Dawson's Creek, and the way she got the part is a story worth telling. While the casting team in Los Angeles was close to offering the role to Selma Blair, an audition tape arrived from Toledo, Ohio, filmed in a basement with Katie's mother reading Dawson's lines off camera. That tape changed everything. After 6 seasons as Joey, Katie moved between worlds. She played Rachel Dawes alongside Christian Bale in Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins in 2005. She earned critical praise for Pieces of April in 2003. And she stepped behind the camera too, writing, directing, and starring in Alone Together in 2022 and Rare Objects in 2023. And then came the stage. Katie made her Broadway debut in Arthur Miller's All My Sons in 2008. In 2024, she returned to Broadway as Mrs. Webb in Our Town, opposite Jim Parsons, in a revival that earned a Tony nomination for Best Revival of a Play. Born December 18, 1978 in Toledo, Ohio, Katie Holmes is 47 years old. From a basement audition tape in Ohio, to Batman, to Broadway, Joey Potter grew up, and so did she. And now, number 1. The boy from Cheshire, Connecticut, who dreamed of being Spielberg. The name on the title, the heart of it all. Then, Dawson Leary. There was no Dawson's Creek without Dawson. James Van Der Beek was 20 years old when he stepped into the role that would define an era of television. Dawson Leary, the dreamer, the filmmaker, the boy who believed that life should be as beautiful as the movies. And James brought him to life with a sincerity that you couldn't fake. He was born James David Van Der Beek Jr. on March 8, 1977, in Cheshire, Connecticut. His mother was a Broadway dancer. His father played minor league baseball. James started acting at 13, after a football concussion kept him off the field for a year. His school cast him as Danny Zuko in Grease, and something clicked. At 15, he asked his mother to take him to New York to find an agent. A few years later, an audition tape landed on Kevin Williamson's desk, and Williamson saw it immediately. The nervousness, the overthinking, the insecurity. "There's Dawson," he said. The show premiered in 1998 and turned James into a global star. In '99, he led the teen football drama Varsity Blues, #1 at the US box office for 2 straight weeks. He was named one of People magazine's 50 Most Beautiful People. But what set James apart was never the fame. It was the humor, the self-awareness, the willingness to laugh at himself. In 2012, he played a fictionalized version of himself on Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, an actor trying to rebuild his career with zero shame and total charm. He once said of the role, "It's fun to mock the business. It's fun to keep your own ego in check. You feel very safe when you're constantly destroying all those little things you keep precious as an actor." He later starred in CSI Cyber on CBS, appeared in FX's Pose, and competed on season 28 of Dancing with the Stars, finishing in 5th place. And in 2024, Drew University, the school he'd left decades earlier to film Dawson's Creek, invited him back as their commencement speaker. They awarded him an honorary Bachelor of Arts degree. The boy who once dropped out to chase a dream came home to a standing ovation. In August of 2023, James was diagnosed with stage 3 colorectal cancer. He shared the news publicly in November 2024 and immediately became an advocate for early screening. Even in the hardest season of his life, he was still trying to help others. On February 11, 2026, James Van Der Beek left us. He was 48 years old. His wife, Kimberly, wrote, "He met his final days with courage, faith, and grace. He leaves behind 6 children: Olivia, Joshua, Annabelle, Emilia, Gwendolyn, and Jeremiah. And he leaves behind a necklace his mother made with her own hands, the one he wore on screen throughout the show, close to his heart." Dawson Leary once said He wanted to make movies that meant something. James Van Der Beek did something better. He made a life that meant something. Time moves forward whether we're ready or not. But the memories, those stay exactly where we left them. Which of these transformations surprised you the most today? And if you could go back, just for one evening, to sit on that old sofa next to someone you love and hear that theme song one more time, what would you give to do it? Share your stories in the comments below. I read every single one of them. Thank you for watching, and thank you for remembering.